I think there's some exciting parts of the future. Start again. I think the future is really exciting in terms of connected ministry. And we have analyzed and looked at a lot of trends. And this current moment, I call it digital Babylon. And that comes from the notion that Daniel from the Old Testament is taken from Jerusalem to Babylon, and all these exiles, the Hebrew community, some are killed, some are scattered, some are taken to Babylon. The very first section of Daniel describes that the sacking of sort of the Hebrew people, and all of these exiles are taken away. And what happens for Daniel and his peers, we know also Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, Daniel's given the name Belteshazzar, is that they have to learn how to be sort of in but not of the world, to borrow a phrase from the future, relatively speaking, from Jesus. And so they have to become as Babylonian as the Babylonians in order to survive. But they don't compromise their convictions. And so Babylon is comprised of greater access, greater alienation, and greater skepticism of authority. And that was true then, and that's true now. So I describe today as digital Babylon because the algorithms are giving us greater access, greater skepticism of authority, and greater alienation from even the people that we know best. Like, we're finding in the research that people believe the algorithms more than they believe their own parents. They believe what is found on the internet more than they would believe, the people of faith that they're around. That's why there's an emerging global culture of Gen Z and young people around the world. They're more like their peers than they are like the older individuals in their communities. And so the reason that's all important is that connected ministry then means, as Christians, we have to find a new way of thinking about connection. Some of that is digital, and that's okay. We went through the pandemic and digital church and Zoom prayer meetings and all the rest, and connection via digital is powerful. And connection in and through the church is the original social network. It's the way we form as human beings to have a different kind of relationship to our lives. And when the church is at its best, is telling us how we can live under the authority of Scripture in light of Jesus' death and resurrection to be a new and better people for the sake of the world. And I think that gives us an opportunity when we're connected around that vision. It helps us to live that way. And so we need to have a resurgence of understanding of what it means to be connected, what it means for us to live together on common mission, in person, digitally, in all these different ways. And I'm a big believer we have to, as I've described in other places, like dig deeper wells. And by doing so, we find that the way God can refresh us, can give us the water for our souls, it actually lasts much more than anything that the world can give. Jesus says, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. And the water I give you, is living water, and you shouldn't have to drink again. And these are kind of, even the people who heard it in those days were like, what are you talking about? Like, how is that possible? So I think connected ministry, in my mind, is related to this idea of helping people dig deeper wells to have their daily bread through Christ in Christian communities, so that they can make a difference in the midst of digital Babylon, where everything and anything is up for grabs.